Astros baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Jack in the Box. The Portobello Mushroom Buttery Jack is back. Taste it before it's gone at Jack in the Box. And by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing too high. Temperature expected to be mid-90s, not only today but for the next several days here in Houston, Texas. It is fine with air conditioning inside Minute Maid Park. It's game 2 of the 3-game series. Here's the way Robin Ventura has lined them up for his White Sox today. Leading off is shortstop Tim Anderson with Adam Eaton in center field. Jose Abreu at first, Todd Frazier at third, the cleanup man. Then it's Alex Avila, the catcher, Brett Laurie in second, Deoner Navarro, the DH, Avisail Garcia in left field, J.B. Shuck is the right fielder, and the pitcher is 13-game winner Chris Sale.
On the mound for the Astros, we talked about him, 32-year-old right-hander Doug Fister, been really good. He's had a 7-game winning streak. Lost last time out, but pitched well. Keep the ball in the ballpark. 14 home runs allowed in his 93 innings.
Here's his first pitch. Tim Anderson hits it foul. Anderson, a very aggressive hitter, has walked once so far. He has struck out 30 times. He's had 90 major league at-bats in his first 20 games as a big leaguer, but he's hit 300. And it's 1-1 to Anderson. So with that 300 batting average, he has advertised that he can do some damage, including 3 homers, 6 doubles, and a triple.
Good with the glove, too. Not a single error for the young shortstop.
In the air out toward left center field, and it's shallow for Carlos Gomez. One out for Doug Fister. Fister pitched well in Chicago against the White Sox in mid-May. He's 3-4 in his career against them with a 3.77 ERA. Adam Eaton, one of the top defensive outfielders in the game, facing Fister. The Astros 10-1 in his last 11 starts. His cutter has produced only a 143 batting average, and the swing percentage against him is the lowest among qualifiers. That's ball 1, but he has walked only 28 in 93 2/3 innings, so perhaps they'd better swing at more first pitches. He probably is very happy with what's going on right now with a 238 batting average against him.
That makes me really curious. Why would Doug Fister's swing percentage against be the lowest?
Yeah, I didn't know that until we just saw it on the screen. 270 for Eaton, 4 homers, 26 runs batted in. It is rather puzzling, though, having watched him all season, is it not?
Well, he's not that overpowering guy. He's not a super painter. He's got good action on his sinker. A little surprising.
Well, he's 3-0 now on Eaton. Eaton 0 for 4 last night. Takes a strike. Tim Timmons is the home plate umpire. The Astros are 3-1 against the White Sox this season. They won 11 of 12. Fouled away, and now it's a 3-ball, 2-strike count. A very good game last night coming from Mike Fiers on the way to a 5-0 Houston win. Fiers with 6 shutout innings, and Giles Gregerson and Davinsky each tossed in 1 shutout frame on a combined 5-hitter for Astros pitching last night. There's a 1-out walk, and Eaton is aboard. Jose Abreu will follow. Abreu has really provided quite an entry into Major League Baseball. The numbers this year not as good as what he's done the last 2. 262, 11 homers, 48 runs batted in. Still nothing to sneeze at, as Abreu's numbers are solid, but he has been up there soaring with the Eagles his first 2 years with 36 and 30 home runs respectively. And for strike 1.
Yeah, Mike Trout was the MVP a couple of years ago. Abreu's numbers would stack right in there. He deserved consideration.
Double play ball would certainly be fine for Doug Fister here. Ground ball goes foul, and it's 0-2. The White Sox are 11th in runs scored in the American League with 331 runs. Robin Ventura's club at 500, 40 wins, 40 losses, 9.5 games off the lead pace in the AL Central, being set by the torrid Cleveland Indians, who have won 14 in a row, and they're tied right now 6-6 at Toronto in the 8th. Up the middle it rolls with crazy spin. There's the play by Danny Wirth, and Danny Wirth turns it into a 4-3 double play. And that that one was a little tricky with the spin on the ball. Nothing after 1/2. Lineup, and it's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. A.J. Hinch goes with who else? George Springer in right field to lead it off. Marwin Gonzalez is at first, batting second. Then it's Jose Altuve DHing today. Carlos Correa, the cleanup man at shortstop. Carlos Gomez in center. Evan Gattis, the catcher. Luis Valbuena at third. Danny Worth at second. And Jake Marisnick, the left fielder.
And on the mound for the White Sox, as tough as they come, lanky, long left-hander Chris Sale. 13-game winner already, trying to get to the halfway pole in the season with 14 wins. Pretty phenomenal numbers going up, about as feared as they come in the game.
George Springer will be first up against Chris Sale, and he has been amazingly successful against the Houston Astros in his career. Microscopic ERA. That arm angle is one of a kind. There's ball one, and just his stuff is so electric. Springer at .259 with 17 homers, has 48 runs batted in. A little roller goes foul, and it's 1-1. So not only is Sale one of the best pitchers around, as you've indicated, Ash, with the 13 wins, he leads the major leagues. He leads the American League in innings pitched. And he's so tough to hit. .213 batting average. Last two starts against Houston. 2-0 with a 106.
You can see in watching him why he would be tough on left-handers. For right-handers, he should be able to pick up the ball, but his stuff is that good.
And it's not as if he's going to walk many. Not as if he's a wild, hard-throwing lefty. It's 2 balls and a strike. 23 walks in 113 innings.
Look now at our Super Mole presented by Mattress Firm. Yeah, you can see it's basically funky. Hitters are going to tell you arms and legs all over the place.
2 balls, 2 strikes. He beat the Astros 2-1 in Chicago on May 19th. Going the distance. Evan Gattis homered off him in the 8th inning, and that was the only run the Astros got. He didn't walk anybody, and he fanned 9 in the 9 innings that day. Slider gives him a strikeout to start.
Take a look now at our MD Anderson strike zone as we look at Chris Sale and his filthy stuff. He can turn to that slider. He's got the pitches, and he'll spot them well.
What a challenge. Marwin Gonzalez, .252, 6 homers, 21 runs batted in, has stepped it up to .296 in his last 27 games. He got the call last night at first base. He was batting 7th, and he went 0 for 3 in that game. Line drive, and that one's caught by a leaping Todd Frazier. That ball was smoked.
You don't want to hit in tough luck in a game against Chris Sale. Start to say a guy like Chris Sale, there just aren't other guys like that. When you hang out a line drive, you want to get yourself a knock. That's a little bit of a tough start.
Frazier got up quickly, snagged that liner, well hit ball. Now it's Jose Altuve. He continues to lead the American League in hitting, but his on-base streak was stopped at 32 straight last night. At strike one to Altuve, 352, 13 homers, 46 runs batted in. Leads the league in hits with 111. Altuve 0 for 4 in last night's game. That was the longest on-base streak of his career, 32 straight. He is the American League Player of the Month for June after hitting .420 with an OPS of over 1,000. First Astro position player named Player of the Month since '08, Lance Berkman. Deep drive left field. Jose Altuve has given the Astros a 1-0 lead. Home run number 14 for Altuve.
Little man is the big man around Houston. You know, I continue to hear the talk about Altuve being more selective and hitting more good pitches. Watch where this pitch is. And for me, that's what I see with Altuve. Yeah, he'll lay off some pitches and he's drawn some walks, but he gets his hits on everything that he can handle. And he can handle more pitches than anybody around him.
What an important swing as Altuve goes deep and drives in his 47th. 1-0 lead. Here's Carlos Correa. Strike one to Correa. Carlos drove in his 50th last night. He has 13 homers with a .269 batting average. It's 1-1 to Carlos. Altuve is now 7 for 19 in his career against Sale. That's the first home run he's ever hit against the tall lefty, listed at 6'6". In the hole, Frazier to his left. Good play. Altuve cranks one to left, and this big Saturday crowd on Correa bobblehead day enjoys the DH's work in the first inning. 1-0 Houston. Run to left field, giving the Astros the 1-0 lead, and that equals the most earned runs Chris Sale has allowed in a start against the Houston Astros. So
there you go. There's your offensive output.
Yes, it does. Now 1-0, as Doug Fister probably heard from one of his teammates. There's your run, pal.
Go get him, buddy.
Todd Frazier looks at ball one. Frazier with 23 homers is tied for the major league lead. He's driven in 51. He has a .203 batting average. He was the DH in last night's game, but he is an excellent third baseman. In for a strike for Pfister, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Pfister has been the best Astros starting pitcher with that 3.36 ERA for 15 starts. He's really reestablished himself as one of the best in the majors, in line with what he did with Washington 2 years ago when he was a 14-game winner. Off the plate, and it's 2-1. Well, where would the Astros be without the work of Doug Pfister this year?
After a little bit of a shaky spring on top of that, but he's sure turned it on.
On appeal to Ryan Blackney, it's ball 3, 3-1.
And I think you can get lost in numbers sometimes. You look at the numbers at Kansas City last start for Pfister, 4 earnings. He worked into the 7th inning in a 1-1 ball game. Pitched quite well, I thought.
Breaking pitch works for strike 2 on Frazier.
Is that good on a 3-1?
Now Pfister was opposed by Ian Kennedy, and Kansas City beat him 6-1 last time out last Sunday. In the air, foul. Pfister gave up just 1 run through those first 6, as you indicated, Ash. Then the 7th inning was troublesome for him as he gave up a homer to Kendrys Morales and another one to Cheslor Cuthbert. So 4 earned runs in 6 2/3, but he really kept his club in the game.
Yeah, when it came down to it, the home run ball got him, but that's dead on. I mean, he was quality all the way.
Doug's 32 years old, 73 and 67 in his career with a 3.42 ERA. He's pitched well at Minute Maid Park this season, 3-1 with a 3.58 earned run average. Infield shifts around for Frazier. Broken bat, foul ball.
Get a little picture early on as to what Doug Pfister does. He had a 3-1, came with a slider that Frazier clearly was fooled on, and then he comes back after another fastball. But he can throw his pitches for strikes, and obviously it's been key for Doug.
This will be his 9th pitch to Frazier. 221 batting average, the 6th best in the majors. Batting average on balls in play. And 238 is the overall average. Had a 7-game winning streak until that loss last time. Liner into center field. Good at bat for Frazier. Our home field advantage is presented by Lowe's.
And you look at what the Astros have done early on in the season. They weren't playing well at all. They went 10-13 at home. Didn't look good. Since then, 13-2. Very much more Astros at home like. ERA better. The bullpen way better. The batting average has been rising and driving in runs. The home runs coming along. So yeah, it's a ball club that looks like they're starting to play at home the way they did last year.
Alex Avila's the batter. He did the catching last night as well. There's ball 1. Avila, a 233 hitter, has 3 homers, 6 runs batted in. He was 0 for 2 with a couple of walks last night. 340 day game batting average, Ash.
Explain it. Obviously, he doesn't have those fair blue eyes of Josh Hamilton.
He obviously must eat a high protein breakfast before day games.
Oh, that's what it is. I needed to meet with you many years ago, Brownie.
Improve that vision. 1 ball and 1 strike. How do you explain numbers like that?
You know, and the thing is, check him out next year and see if the numbers look like a reversal.
Yeah.
Kind of the nature of the game.
When you came up, they didn't keep stats like day games and night games.
They didn't keep stats at all, Brownie. Phil Boudreau would have been in dire straits for a job.
Did they have scorebooks then?
I'm not sure. Ink was just coming around.
That one floats outside, and it's a 3-1 count. The abacus was the tool of choice, Bood says, back in those days.
Yeah, slide rules in every player's pocket.
Now, of course, you're not this old, but you don't remember going to school with a slide rule on your belt, correct?
No, I was going to comment about not having a belt back in my day, but
okay.
No, I was not that guy, actually. Surprisingly.
How about the pocket protector? You remember that one at all?
I saw him on a few choice classmates, but again, not worn by this one.
Pfister got a call from Tim Timmons. It's a full count. And time is called.
But you, Mr. Brown, I have a feeling you may have been well acquainted.
We all had pocket protectors.
Yeah?
They were white. You put your pens in there. Yeah.
Thanks for reminding me of that aspect of life I never had.
That's the second walk for Pfister. 2 men on, nobody out, and Brett Lawrie's the batter. Lawrie had some good swings last night. He had a pair of doubles his last 2 times up. In the 6th inning, he lined to left center for a 2-base hit. In the 9th inning, hit one to right field. Earlier, he lined out, so he really stung the ball in last night's game. Starting today at .252, 11 homers, 31 runs batted in.
I would say the command hasn't been overly sharp out of the chute here for Doug Pfister.
Right. Lawrie is 0 for 6 lifetime against Doug. And it's ball 1. Pfister's gone 7-1 since the start of May with a 2.66 ERA his last 11 starts. Line foul. He's thrown ball 1 to 4 of the first 6 batters. That's out of the pattern of most of his games this year.
He's missed a few times also with a fastball nowhere close up. Not his style.
It's one of the real challenges for a starting pitcher to make those adjustments when things are not clicking early. It's 1-2. Astros pitching. You talked about that stretch in which they've won 13 of their last 15 home games. Well, their pitching is getting better and better. You mentioned it, but really getting close to the best around for that period of time. The Astros have just been solid with the starters and relievers in sync with good work. It's 2-2. Navarro's on deck.
Well, after the start to the season, Brownie, when the pitching wasn't good, the hitting wasn't good, there wasn't much you could find that was acceptable. They are second overall behind only Cleveland in overall pitching right now, ERA.
Big pitch here on 2-2. That's in the air. Valbuena headed for foul ground. Correa's angling over. Correa calling him off and making the catch. That is a very important out for Pfister here.
Right in on the hands. That fastball is tailing right in on the right hand hitter's hands, and it pays off in this case. Looked like Carlos Correa might have battled this a bit.
He's got the pressure game today. It's his bobblehead day.
Got to perform well on that day.
Deoner Navarro comes up. Switch hitting catcher at .216, has 4 homers, 16 runs batted in. He moves away from ball 1. White Sox have some injuries right now. Navarro has hit just 167 in June. They are missing Melky Cabrera in the lineup. He is available, but he has a sprained wrist. Now it's 2-0. Pfister's changeup has been drifting outside to left-handed batters a few times here in the early going.
Brownie, you see the catcher's mitt now. We've got fans indicating that I used. Maybe that was at my retirement.
It's good stuff. 2 balls and a strike.
Do you actually retire when they tell you not to come back to the clubhouse?
Now you're getting some Bob Uecker-like lines.
Went to my locker and I had a sign in there that said no visitors allowed in the clubhouse.
That's hammered deep to right center field. Springer on the run. It's way back toward the bullpen, and that is off the wall. 2 runs are going to score on this. Springer lost it up on Taos Hill, and now it's going to be a 2-1 lead and a runner at third for the White Sox on the deep drive by Navarro. Springer had to chase it down on the warning track, and then his momentum carried him up on Taos Hill where the ball dropped.
Yeah, driving it pretty well, and I thought when that ball hit the wall that it was going to be a big break for Pfister and company, but I'm not really sure whether the bobble there impacted anything, and I guess the scorer agrees.
2-run triple. Infield in for Garcia. There's ball 1 up to him. Garcia with a .245 average has 5 homers, 27 runs batted in. He was 1 for 4 last night, a double to left. Infield in to try to cut down Navarro with 1 out. It's 2-0. That was Navarro's second triple of the year. He's driven in 18 now. And Pfister falling behind 3-0 here.
Those last 2 fastballs kind of representative of what we're seeing right now. Yeah. There we go, and that is officially the glove I retired with. You notice it was on my right hand. I had made a late effort there to be a left-handed catcher.
Ambidextrous. 3-1. Not much of a webbing though.
The pocket was small, but it was crafty.
J.B. Shuck is on deck. And it's fouled for a 3-2 count. Well, these 2 teams have pitched well against each other. The Astros have scored 18 runs now. This is early in the 5th game of the season series. White Sox have scored 12. Inside for a ball, and that's a walk to Garcia.
Just not finishing that fastball at all.
3rd walk for Pfister. Now he'll face Shuck. Shuck has 2 homers, 8 runs batted in, a .231 batting average.
They'll find a way to get the ground ball here, get a double play after the walk, and get out of this thing.
Shuck was 0 for 3 last night. The Astros snapping his 5-game hitting streak. He looks at strike 1. He had the game winner in the bottom of the 8th the day before. Thursday afternoon, the White Sox beating the Twins. 31 pitches in the inning, and there's 1 out right now for Doug Pfister. That one goes foul, and it's 0-2.
I guess it hasn't been all that rare for Doug to have the command get away at times this year. He had a 7-walk outing at Seattle back in April.
I was just looking at that. Other than that game, though, he's pretty well kept the walks under control. He had 4 May 29th, and that was the only 4-walk game. Bouncer third, charge. Valbuena coming home, and Gaddis puts the tag on Navarro. Valbuena charged it, made the short hop play, and then got it early to his catcher Gaddis for the easy tag on Navarro.
And yes, it was the ground ball. It wasn't a double play ground ball, so nicely done by Valbuena. Sure-handed on that little in-between hop to be able to get the out at the plate. Evan Gaddis looked like a roadblock that you weren't going to get through.
Yeah, that's like a cement barrier there for a base runner. There's strike 1 on Anderson. Anderson hit a fly ball to center field leading off the game. It's 1-1. Curveball got away from Doug Pfister a little bit. This is game 2 of a 10-game homestand. Baseball every day leading up to the All-Star break here at Minute Maid Park. Tomorrow it's a 1:10 start for the finale of this series, matching Colin McHugh and Jose Quintana. And Seattle's in Tuesday through Thursday. Up the middle. Here's Worth with the long throw from behind second. Good play from Danny Worth. 2-run scoring on 2 hits with 2 men left. 2-1 White Sox.
Look forward to Miller time later in today's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. You're looking at Carlos Gomez, who's going to lead things off here. He's just been a different guy since coming off the DL back on May 31st. Check out these numbers here at home since June 5th. 355, looking much more confident, comfortable at the plate, making more contact. Health is big for him, but he said yesterday and before today's game, so is the consistent playing time, the consistent at-bats. He's just looking much better and feeling much better, guys.
Thanks, Julia. First pitch to Gomez is fouled. There's strike 1. Gomez, a .226 hitter overall, has 4 homers, 20 runs batted in, .351 his last 15 games. And he takes for a 1-1 count. This is only the second career start for Chris Sale at Minute Maid Park. He lost to Eric Bedard here in June of 2013, 2-1. Giving up 2 unearned runs. In his 5 career starts against the Astros, he's never gone fewer than 8 innings. Foul ball, 1-2. Just dominant on the Astros with that ERA of 0.66, striking out 56 in 41 innings. When he lost the 2-1 game here to Bedard in 2013, he struck out 14. He was the 4th pitcher in 100 years to lose a 14 strikeout game.
If I'm not mistaken, Eric Bedard was sailing along with a no-no or a perfect game. Didn't get real deep into the game, but
yeah, we'll have to check on that. Strikeout number 2 for Sale.
It's a bad finishing position on your swing. But that's what that slider from Chris Sale can do.
How much break do you think he has on that slider? That is
pretty good sweep on that, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's got that way out there on the side sling delivery, and so you're going to get a lot of that side to side. And people talk about tilt. I don't think that would be the strength of the slider from Sale.
Right. Evan Gattis hit the homer off Sale earlier this year. Fouls that one back. Strike 1 on Gattis on a 5-game hitting streak now. .227 for Evan. 12 homers, 33 runs batted in. Since he came back from the minor leagues, he's hit 11 homers, driving in 26 runs in 37 games.
Sale missing, goes to a 1-1 count. Here's the long ball he hit at Chicago.
Out into left center field and didn't get out by a ton, but it was a tough pitch down and away.
Yeah, he really extended on that swing. 1-2 for Gaddis. So he's 2 for 6 lifetime against Chris Sale. Gaddis has started 15 games at catcher for the Astros. Those games have gone well. In the air, and the left fielder comes in. Garcia, the shortstop, Anderson out. Garcia is there. 2 outs.
Well, you have really messed with me, Brownie.
Here we go.
Look at this. And I don't know where they got this, on eBay or whatever, but yeah, that's the mask.
A lot of padding on that one, Ash.
There was more at one time. That top piece, actually, I had to have surgically removed from my forehead.
With a mask like that, why bother?
Can you imagine those guys going out there?
No. Luis Valbuena with 9 homers, 28 runs batted in, is hitting .260, .283 against lefties.
Our esteemed producer dropped a Hannibal Lecter on that mask there.
Valbuena puts it in the air. Here's Avila coming back in front of the screen to catch the foul pop for a quick second inning for Sale. 2-1 lead, White Sox.
What are we doing? We're talking 1979 sellout crowd packs Comiskey Park for Disco Demolition Night. A lot of you fans may not remember this, but this was a last, I don't know, did they ever do this again? They shouldn't have, that's for sure.
No, they were not allowed to have that type of promotion again.
Not many fly balls were caught at that moment in center field, that's for sure. It was a rowdy generation. And there was 10-cent beer night in Cleveland, and
boy. There's strike one. Adam Eaton leading it off in the 3rd inning. He walked in the 1st against Doug Fister. 2-1 White Sox. That's slapped into left center field. A hit for Eaton on a line single. And it's hit number 3 for the White Sox today.
Well, that particular fastball, that's about all a hitter could do successfully on that pitch, and just Eaton taking advantage. Watch where this pitch runs down and away. Kind of everything going that way on Doug right now.
Jose Abreu is next. He bounced into a double play. Smacks one foul. Joe McEwing, the third base coach, spun out of the way on that.
And Jose Abreu maybe went up with a mentality that says, look, if he throws me a fastball, it's going to run in. So let's get the barrel out quickly.
That's what they call selling out, right?
Absolutely. Full commitment.
Joe McEwing's name has come up as far as being a managerial candidate someday. He's highly regarded. 1 ball, 1 strike.
It's 1-2.
They're wearing me out, Bronny.
What are they into now?
Yeah, this is my final game. I don't, and then the bat I used, and
so Babe Ruth was batting in your final game. There we go.
Yeah, here we go. I don't even know what that equipment would be used for, but
they got that at Stonehenge.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah. Dug up among the artifacts there, Ash.
Well, it's nice to be useful for the folks today.
We still haven't seen a pocket protector, though.
No, none to be found in that generation.
Line drive one-handed, and that one goes foul into the seats. That's your last game, they tell us.
Folks at home, order yourself a pizza. Have a nice time.
Well, at least you didn't have to crouch down in those days.
No, you didn't. Actually, Yogi was trying to teach me that at one time. It was pretty cool.
Abreu's down on strikes. First strikeout for Pfister. Jack in the Box takes us inside the box score. Dave Kingman in 1986 hit 20 homers with a .202 average. Adam Dunn hit 25 homers with a .202 average in 03. Todd Frazier's hit 23 this year with a .206 average. And that came up 3 points after his second inning single. Ball one to Frazier. Kingman used to hit those monster shots way up in the air.
I associate the name Kingman and Rob Deere together with those.
Yeah, Rob Deere's a member of that group also. He was on down the list.
Norman Thomas is a name I kind of throw in there as well.
Yeah, he had some low batting averages, some good home run seasons. Last year, though, when Todd Frazier hit 35 homers, his average was .256. The year before, he hit .273 with 29 bombs. Pfister with a quick move to first. So for some reason, the batting average is down in the mud for Todd. He's transitioned from National to American League this year. Fouls that one 1-2, but he's been known as a good long ball hitter. Let's see about Kingman, though.
1979. Yeah, he could launch some. There's no doubt about that. If you ever got yourself, of course, that's Wrigley Field right there. Ever went to Montreal and saw the big O open there? Dave hit a ball up and through the opening in the big O, and they had to paint some lines down the line, and pretty crazy.
Yeah. Upstairs. That was from that 22-21 game, Cubs and Phillies. And Mike Schmidt went nuts that day too. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I'd love to see Pfister finish off some fastballs here. Get him on his glove side a little bit.
Runner going. Gaddis with the throw in the dirt. Stolen base by Eaton. That's number 9 for him. Pitch was ball 3 to Frazier.
I got tires for my car and everything here, Bronny.
You had tires then?
Well, you see, it's
back up to the wagon wheel, huh? Okay.
Pre-Michelin, I'll say that.
Swing and a miss at a curve in the dirt, and that's a strikeout. 2 outs, 2 strikeouts in a row.
Much easier to finish that slider than the fastball right now for Doug. More like an over-the-top curveball.
Alex Avila walked and scored on that 2-run triple by Deoner Navarro in the second inning. Speaking of tires, you see the golf tournament they're playing this weekend, the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
It's the Bridgestone tournament, right? And it's being played at Firestone.
Well, I got a photo of you from high school, Ronnie.
Oh, there's the pocket protector. You got it. With the bow tie. That's
looked
a
like you were
classic
borrowing Larry Anderson's teeth there.
And the guy's got about 8 pens in that pocket. Well, you just never know when 7 of those pens are going to run out of ink in one day.
Always a fact.
That's strike 1. Thanks, Michael.
Your hair was a lot darker in those days,
yeah,
Ronnie.
it was. It's 1-1.
Some of these sites haven't been visited ever before on the internet.
Strike 1 and 2.
There's that side of the plate.
Julia, have you ever seen a pocket protector before?
No, I'm completely lost.
We'll get it to you.
Had you ever needed a pen, Julia, and well, that probably wasn't fair.
It was in order to protect the shirts. Back in those days, Julia, we were always very cautious about protecting clothing and being able to get at least 8 to 10 years out of a shirt. Isn't that right, Ash? Yeah.
Remember on Gilligan's Island, the professor and Marianne? The professor likely would have had one of those working, right?
Yeah.
How many pens or pencils are you putting in your pocket?
We're talking about 8 to 10. Yeah, you have to be prepared at all times, Julia. Got to load up. Yeah, I know. Times have changed. I know.
I can't make sense of this.
Well, we were pretty nerdy. Were and are, right?
Go easy with that "we" word there, Brownie.
Okay. 3-2 pitch for Pfister.
I think the fans have covered just about every aspect of the early phases of this game.
Hey, they're into it. They got here early for the Correa bobbleheads. Trying to help Pfister get this big out as he's been struggling here. Faced only 3 batters in the first, but then had the second inning. Really labored there. Here we have it, Julia, the pocket protector.
Oh no, that's not cool.
Now that guy doubled up. We didn't often see that, but he is.
He has too.
Yeah, he is really prepared. He's probably going to wear that shirt all week, though. Foul ball. Now, back in the day, Julia, of course, you didn't see any guys dressed like that, but yeah, it would have been pretty appealing for a young lady to.
Oh, she dated a few. Who you kidding?
Well, yeah, if he's always prepared with pencils and pens, I mean, that's who I'm
What more could you ask for, right?
Must be prepared for anything then, right?
That's my dream guy.
Yeah. Fouled away. Times have indeed changed so much.
Yeah, with all those pencils and pens, he could divide that check in half easily at the
You could
malt
put a
shop,
stapler
huh?
in there.
Yeah.
What else could you fit in there?
You know, we didn't get the full picture of those gentlemen, but there had to be a slide rule attached to a belt also on at least one of those guys, if not both.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah. Upstairs, and there's a walk, and that's number 4. Well, Pfister now moves on to face Brett Laurie.
It was obvious in the first inning Doug wasn't overly sharp. Thought he'd find it by now, but just continues to struggle along. If he can get out of this third inning just down a run, I think he's very fortunate.
You bet, and could give his whole club a lift if he can do that. As hard as he's working right now. He got Brett Laurie with 2 men on a foul pop in the second inning. Hit hard into left field. Here's Marisnick throwing to the plate, and Gaddis with the tag. Whoa, up and over, and he's out. Adam Eaton tried to go up over him, and that is out number 3. Big play for the Astros here as Eaton fails to score from second on the single to left. He fell around third and still tried to get there, and that cost the White Sox. 2-1.
The White Sox leading the Astros. And it's time to play, brought to you by Toyota. We are going to look back to A.J. Reed's very first major league hit. He got it finally last night. It took him a little while. He said he started to get frustrated, just hoping it would finally come, get it over with. Didn't want to be asked about it anymore, and he got it. And they got the ball. Jose Altuve faking the throw into the crowd. But then the ball eventually ended up in A.J. Reed's locker. And he ended up in a laundry cart as well, guys. I don't know if you heard this story, but he was covered in syrup and eggs, powder. I think George Springer was behind it. I want to know what it looks like to have A.J. Reed in a small laundry cart. I bet that was a sight to see, but he has officially been welcomed to the big leagues.
Well, he really has. Danny Worth leads it off 2-1. Chris Sale with the lead, throwing strike one. Worth is hitting 160 as an Astro. He was hitting 340 with Fresno. Quite a year underway for Danny, who's been in the big leagues before with Detroit. And takes that one for a 1-ball, 1 strikeout. He is 1 for 2 in his career against Chris Sale.
You don't fluke your way into 340 at AAA. So I think probably Danny hit one of those cold spells just as he got called up.
Yeah, that's tough, isn't it? You work so hard to get to the big leagues. You've hit 340. You come to the big leagues. Okay, is that streak going to play out, or is it just the playing time disappearing because you're now competing with guys like Jose Altuve for playing time and Carlos Correa? That's
you're not going to win that competition.
No.
That's the bottom line. And if you come up, you fail to get a couple of hits immediately, then you sit for a while and it compounds. It's tough.
Fouled away. You were talking on the pregame show about this pitching matchup today, and Chris Sale, we're looking at one of the top pitchers around. He's just reaching 1,000 innings for his career when he works another 2 innings today, and he's going to be a 5 consecutive All-Star player when the teams come out in a few days. He will join Billy Pierce from 1955 through 59 as the only White Sox pitchers in their team's history to make 5 consecutive All-Star teams.
I wonder what he looked like when the scouts started taking a good look at him.
Yeah, good question. Foul ball out of play. Well, after Sale beat the Astros in Chicago, he was 9-0 with a 1.58 ERA for his first 9 starts of the season.
I don't think you could surprise me with any positive numbers on Chris Sale. No, he was 13th in that first round the year he was drafted, 2010.
Leadoff walk for Danny Worth.
Little look now at our forward spray chart. Taking that look at Chris Sale, what he'll do to you. He'll bring the fastball. Not a lot of secrets there. Tough slider, changeup that he'll mix in nicely, and he throws it well off that same delivery. It's a lethal combination he brings.
Jake Marisnick playing left field today, facing the angular Chris Sale. He pushes a bunt. Sale will throw to first, safe. And that took a little too long to get the speedy Marisnick, who winds up with a bunt single.
Yeah, I don't know if that's typical for Sale to take that long on a play, but with Marisnick going down the line, that liberty was not afforded. And, you know, we mentioned before the game a little bit, Brownie, about maybe the bunt, the hit and run today with Sale on the hill. Maybe a way you approach this guy.
Good way to approach it.
Jake Marisnick been trying any way to get himself some hits. Sometimes you just unlock the door, that vault that won't come open with something like this.
At the very worst, he would have had a sacrifice. But he wound up with a bunt single, and George Springer has 2 men on with nobody out. He struck out in the first. Ball 1.
Talking back to that Chris Sale draft, and I'll bet he was a tall drink of water when they were looking at him. But that's the Bryce Harper draft with Manny Machado and Matt Harvey. Some pretty good names involved there.
Chris was born in Lakeland, Florida. Went to Florida Gulf Coast University. Drive to center field. Way back. And caught by Schock. Here's the tag. And the advance by Worth to third base on a deep out number 1. Springer advances the runner. That's another thing you talked about before this game. Those productive outs, Ash.
Yeah, now this is not an effort at small ball, but Danny Worth turns it into one. Is this ball going to get over the center fielder's head or not? You've got to make a reasonable read. If it does, can you score from that tag up position? Danny Worth immediately values this as an out to center field and moves up, and so that's just good baseball at second.
Marwin Gonzalez has a big at bat here. He stung the ball, hit a line drive to a leaping Todd Frazier in the first inning. Marwin is 0 for 7 against Sale. Frazier's playing right at the bag at third. Now he's moving off it and showing bunt. Marwin spins out of there, ball 1, as the squeeze possibility does exist here.
I'm not sure what happened with Marwin right here. That pitch is up and in, but not flagrantly. And boy,
it was a strike apparently.
Marwin gets his face right over the strike zone, and actually that pitch may have been over the plate.
Might have been. Apparently the home plate umpire thought so, because he did not offer at the bunt, so Tim Timmons called it a strike.
Yeah, that was bizarre.
And the throw goes to first. There is, of course, the opportunity for Marisnick to steal here. And if Marwin's able to get down a good bunt, he could not only score the tying run, but move the potential go-ahead run into scoring position. So the White Sox are alerted to all that, and the game slows down.
See that pitch, number 1 in the strike zone? That's what Marwin fell down on.
The bunt is going to stay fair, and the tying run scores. 2-2 ball game. Marwin Gonzalez puts down the safety squeeze, picking up his 22nd run batted in, and also sacrifices Marisnick to second base on the play.
And that's the second RBI on a safety squeeze that Marwin's picked up here in the last few days. Had one on the road trip, I believe, in Anaheim. But this, to me, with 1 out and runners at first and third, says let's get a run and stay out of the double play and avoid that chance of losing the opportunity. So it speaks volumes to what you think when you're facing Chris Sale.
Really does. You see Worth was waiting until the bunt got down. Now he's coming in. So the suicide squeeze would have been different. He would have been committed to running. And that's the way to play it to get the tying run home. Altuve cranked a homer in the first inning. It speaks to the respect A.J. Hinch has for Sale, because A.J. does not like sacrifice bunting, but in this case a couple of things were accomplished, and that ties the most ever runs for the Astros against Sale in 2 starts. The only other time they got 2 runs off him, they were both unearned. Line drive over shortstop, a hit to left field. Marisnick coming to the plate. Here's the throw from Garcia, and it's offline, and the Astros lead it. Altuve into second, 3-2 Houston. Altuve is driven in 2. That gives him 48 runs batted in, and Marisnick has made some things happen here in the third.
Now that bunt really pays off from Jake. The little squeeze, and then Mr. Altuve. Can you get enough? I can't. The one strength on Garcia in left field is his throwing arm. Everybody felt like he really throws well, and so it took a throw offline, maybe took an extra step or 2 in there as well, but the speed of Jake Marisnick didn't hurt either.
Don Cooper, the pitching coach, goes out. Carlos Correa will be the batter. Correa got his first major league hit off Sale last year in Chicago.
Little peek now at our Lexus defensive ratings as we reference Garcia in left field. Yes, he's a stop guy, but Marisnick made it work. Adam Eaton throws well, very accurately, and J.B. Shuck, a guy you want to run on in center field.
Correa grounded to third in the first inning. Now, it was June 8th last year in Chicago that Correa got his first major league hit, and it drove in a run. But Sale won that game 3-1. Big cut, strike one.
There's that aggressive nature that Correa has picked up with a man in scoring position. And it's making a world of a difference for this club. Yeah, I will say again, getting through 3 innings the way Pfister has lacked command, you are extremely fortunate to be close, let alone ahead.
Correa started the bat, and that's a strike. It's 0-2.
The slider starts down, and that bat is hard to hold back on that pitch.
One and two. So just a little bit over a year ago, Carlos Correa in that first major league game faced this tough left-hander. That's the way his major league career began.
Usually guys get protected out of games like that. They'll set them up to have a little easier opponent, but I guess if you're destined to become that guy, go ahead and face the big boys.
Line shot into right field. Altuve's coming to the plate. Here's Eaton with a throw, and it skips in there, not in time. The Astros get another run home. Their third of the inning to lead it 4-2, and into second went Correa.
You know, the Astros have just run on the 2 stop sign arms for the White Sox and run successfully. Altuve can cut a corner with the best of them. Just gorgeous hitting. And Carlos Correa again in that 4 spot. The mentality of the 4 spot has turned into a run producer. 11 outfield assists for Adam Eaton, but not happening right there.
Quite an inning. 4-2 Astros. Here's Gomez now. He struck out in the second. Little roller, first base line goes foul. This inning is so atypical the way the Astros played earlier this year, and this is one of the things that has changed in their game. They're making better contact. They have a much better on-base average, and just putting the ball in play and hitting it sharply.
I don't know if I don't even believe that you create all of your breaks. Breaks sometimes come, but the Astros are creating a lot of breaks right now with good play.
That bunt by Marisnick, a really big part of this inning, and Marwin Gonzalez with a bunt. 0-2. We'd have to look back. I'm sure it's happened, but 2 bunts by the Astros in 1 inning, pretty rare.
Well, in Major League Baseball these days, especially American League, you mentioned A.J. Hinch not liking the bunt. I can't think of a manager who does.
True. But this was the time.
I think you pick your times, and Chris Sale is one of those 2.5 to 3 hour times that you're going to consider the bunt much more so than otherwise.
And quite often the hitters will ask AJ as they come to the on-deck circle, do you want me to bunt? And a lot of times he'll not say bunt and use that word, but just advance the run. Bouncer up the middle. Anderson with a good play, and he gets Gomez. But the Astros send 7 to the plate against Sale to have a 3-run third inning, their best ever against this left-hander, and take a 4-2 lead.
Sox 4-2. We go to the top of the fourth. Celebrate Military Appreciation Day, presented by Whataburger at Minute Maid Park on Monday. 10,000 fans will receive a patriotic T-shirt presented by Cutter. For more information, visit Astros.com or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Brownie?
Thank you, Julia. 4-2. The Astros lead it. White Sox come up in the fourth inning. And the man who hit the two-run triple, Deanna Navarro, leads it off. That's a good-looking cap there. Love those new July 4th team caps that are coming out. We got to look at the Astros cap, which is red. There is ball one. Doug Fister has really wavered with his control so far today. Bounces the curveball 2-0, but now with a 4-2 lead, the hope is that he can get everything harnessed. He's walked 4.
Yeah, as good as Doug has been on the season, it's been that shaky today.
In for a strike, and it's 2-1. The Twins are pounding the Rangers 17-5 in Minnesota. They're in the 9th inning now. Backhanded Worth. He played a good second base so far today. 1 out.
Watched him back in spring training, one of the big team drills in the infield, and he stood out. Hot shot on the backhand. Well, we get accustomed to watching Altuve just handle everything. So nice to see with Danny.
Javi Garcia walked in the second inning. There's ball 1 to him. Max Kepler's hit 2 home runs today for the Twins. Miguel Sano hit number 12. He's playing third again now. Made some good plays last night at third base. To Hopper Correa. 2 outs.
Garcia's a big fella, but he got down the line well.
J.B. Shuck will follow. Chuck hit a bouncer to third. Valbuena threw out Navarro at the plate on that one. The White Sox have lost 2 runners at home plate in this game. Eaton fell around third, got up and tried to score on the hit by Laurie, but he was then out on the good throw by Marisnik. In for a strike. It's 1-1. Gonzalez started for the Rangers today, lasted 2/3 of an inning. They have really gone through their bullpen in that one. Now the backup catcher is pitched, Ryan Holiday. 2 balls and a strike.
Wonder if they've taken a little glance back at the Astros.
Well, you know, they've faltered lately, haven't they?
Pretty hard to maintain the kind of play they were putting up, but
oh, absolutely.
I think you have to take a glance once in a while.
They're 52 and 29. Deep drive to right field over Springer. That one's going to be a home run for J.B. Shuck. The former Astro goes deep. Number 3 of the year, and it's now a 4-3 game. That's his first career homer against Houston. He was hitting 179 against the Astros.
When you are struggling to find the strike zone, you're going to be put in some compromised situations, and Chuck just simply took advantage of one. Fastball will run right back that upper middle part of the plate.
3rd homer of the year. Now Anderson has a fly ball, and it's caught by Worth in shallow right. 1 run on the Shuck long ball, and the Astros lead it 4-3 in the 4th.
take a look at our Chevy Stroh poll, make sure to head over to the Root Sports SW Twitter page to vote in the poll. We're going to give you the winner later. Facing Chris Sale today, the Astros are, which lefty is the best fantasy bargain? We're switching it up on you, so fantasy baseball players, I want to hear your thoughts on this. Is it Clayton Kershaw, Sale, Madison Bumgarner, or Cole Hamels? We're going to take a little bit deeper look into this in the second, Brownie.
Oh, good. Thanks, Julia. Here's Evan Gattis batting. Looking at strike one from Chris Sale. He hit a fly ball to left field in the second inning. Well, let's see. Ash, you previewed our pitching duel today, right?
Did. I got it totally wrong to this point, but I did preview it.
Liner caught by Laurie. Round number one. We do that all the time, though. Julia, back to you.
Thanks, Brownie. I'm going to pretend to be an expert in fantasy baseball for a second. Not really, but we do have some numbers to show you the value of these players. Clayton Kershaw would be the most expensive pitcher, or left-handed pitcher, I should say. $31 would be his value. Cole Hamels at $19. Chris Sale, $23. Now, we were talking about this earlier. When you're fantasy baseball, they have, you know, different points for different things as well. So value is a little bit different than maybe real baseball.
Yes. Good
You
point.
can't get a starter for $23?
Well, we were talking about, I mean, a strikeout pitcher versus a sinker baller. I mean, there's just so many different ways to look at it.
Bueno was thinking, Bunt.
Yeah, he was. I'll give you one way to look at it. Chris Sale looks like a steal to me on that list.
He does. 1 ball, 1 strike. Valbuena tried to drag bunt.
Could anybody win 30 in a season anymore?
Going to be tough.
Chris Sale has a chance. Of course, the Astros want to take care of that chance, but he's shooting at a 14th win today in game 81. So you can project that pretty easily with or without Brownie's slide rule.
It is so rare for somebody to be on this kind of a win pace. Absolutely. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He is in select company, no doubt.
There you go. That was quite a class you taught, too, and you had some big names come out of that class, I think.
We like to dress up in those days. We all had the same hair. Struck him out. Number 3.
Some of the numbers on Chris Sale, and I would imagine he's not for sale. He just keeps running it out there. He'll put up the big innings, big strikeouts. Boy, team record 13-3 in his starts. Great ERA. He brings the whole thing, and what the Astros have done to him this afternoon, very rare.
Danny Worth's the batter now. He walked and scored. That began the big 3-run inning. Anderson makes it a quick 4th for Sale, who regroups. 4-3 Astros through 4.
Let's go. Let's go.
Houston Astros baseball on Root Sports is presented by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide.
by Lexus, the new 2016 Lexus ES and ES Hybrid. It's next level luxury. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors, donating $100 for each Astros home run and $200 for each Correa home run to Houston Children's Charity. Sizzling day outside at Killen's Barbecue, and that is quite a place. Great reputation in Houston. 4-3 ball game. Doug Fister throws ball one here to Adam Eaton, who has walked and singled to left. So in this kind of a ball game, Fister's, I would imagine, being watched very carefully by Brent Strom, the pitching coach, to see if he can lock in on his control. It's 1 ball and 1 strike.
You can't keep falling behind on these guys, and you're facing Chris Sale with a lead, a very rare lead against Chris Sale. So yeah, I would think it would start getting tighter now.
Valbuena comes over for the foul pop. Out of play. 1-2. But how often have you seen it? A lot of pitchers do struggle early in games, and then there's something that kicks in and they can just reel off the outs and get deep into games.
With no explanation, a lot of times you can say, did you pick up something along the way? No, I just started feeling it. And you know, in this game, pitching in particular, I think feel is a huge part of it.
2-2 with Abreu and Frazier to follow. That's why this 5th inning is important for Fister with the 2-3-4 hitters. Fouled away by Eaton. Fister's been reeling off the quality starts. He has more than any other Astro, 11. In his 15 starts, the Astros record is 11-4. Worth backing up. He can't make the play, and it would have been really tough to throw out Eaton. That would have been a hit either way, even if he had made the clean pickup. Eaton is on for the 3rd straight time.
Not a sharply hit ground ball, but location, location, location. And yeah, Danny Worth would have had to come up with a gem at that point.
Eaton stole second in the 3rd inning. That's the 6th hit for the White Sox. Nobody warming up currently for Houston. Jose Abreu, the batter. Bouncer into left field. And now it's 1st and 2nd on the back-to-back singles by Eaton and Abreu with nobody out, and Frazier coming up.
They're just pure hole finding with these ground balls right now. And you cannot afford to scuffle now and make a bad pitch. Little cutter working away. Roll over it, find the hole.
With that, Michael Feliz is beginning to warm up for Houston.
He could play a big part in this game, Brownie.
He sure could. Frazier's 1 for 2. Strike 1. And for Fister's part, as you pointed out, he's gotten 2 ground balls here in the inning. That's what. And now the runner takes off for 3rd. Gaddis with the throw. Valbuena has it. He is out. Boy, Eaton being overly aggressive, saw the ball hit the dirt, but it didn't go very far from Gaddis, who gunned him down.
Yeah, we were talking about catching breaks, earning breaks. I think this is just catching a break. Now, Evan Gaddis earned the out right there. Very nice play. But, boy, the White Sox just hand you one here.
Not a caught stealing. As he attempted to move up on a pitch in the dirt, a 2-5 play. That could be an awfully big play. 2 balls and a strike now, just as the one was on Eaton being thrown out at the plate on the hit by Laurie in the 3rd inning when he fell around 3rd base. So his adventures on the base paths are really costing the White Sox today. They've lost 2 runners at the plate and another at 3rd in this game. In for a strike, and it's 2-2.
Little cutter from Doug Fister is enabling him to get out in front a little bit more than he has been on the typical running fastball, finishing that pitch.
3-2 now. And at 93 pitches for the game. Ball 4. Avila will bat next. That's 5 walks.
I would not have believed well, if you got word before the game that Pfister would pitch like this into the 5th inning and the Astros would be leading on Chris Sale.
Right. Well, the call is placed to the bullpen. Avila has walked both times. He could be the last hitter for Pfister. But then again, he could get a ground ball double play and stay in the game too. And we hear all the time about stressful pitches. Well, a guy working from the stretch who's allowed 7 hits and 5 walks, so he's been essentially working from the stretch most of the day, has thrown a lot of stressful pitches. Fouled away, and it's 0-2. And you get up around 100 and factor in those pitches under duress, and that often will lead to the call for an exit.
I think when you're scuffling from pitch 1, it may be high stress immediately.
True. White Sox 2 for 6 with runners in scoring position. They bounced into a double play when Abreu was the batter in the first. Avila strikes out. Strikeout number 3. Let's go back to that play at the plate in the 3rd.
Adam Eaton coming around third base on the Brett Lawrie base hit. And of course, we know that Jake can throw, but he was certainly aided by the fact that Adam Eaton stumbled going around third base. Otherwise, I don't know if they get him.
That was pretty impressive, though.
Was there a tag applied?
Yeah, he got him right here.
Right there, okay.
He got him. Now Lawrie with a ground ball hit, or maybe not. Correa will throw to Valbuena. It is going to be a hit to load the bases. Good effort by Correa, who didn't have a play at second or first, so Lawrie will get an infield hit. He tried the play at third, but Valbuena couldn't get to the base in time to tag Abreu.
Reaction play by Correa, and perfectly done. Does Valbuena have enough time to react and get back to the bag? You can see he was standing flat-footed. A little bit of spectator perspective there for Valbuena, but yeah, if he gets back and reacts, that could have been a whale of a play.
Deanna Navarro's the batter. He blasted the 2-run triple in the 2nd, grounded out in the 4th. Bases loaded. He takes a strike. It's quite a display of faith in Doug Pfister to leave him in. This will be his 100th pitch. In the dirt. 1-1. Twins pummel the Rangers 17-5. Tyler Duffy won his 4th. Gonzalez the loser for the Rangers. And the Astros have a chance to move to within 7.5 of Texas if they get a win today. Big time 1-2. Our good friends on Twitter at Astros Magic Number have been figuring those magic numbers. We were kidding about it last night. Their magic number to win the AL West goes down to 90 now.
Oh, that's right around the corner.
2-2. Umpire third is Jordan Baker. base hit to right field, and the White Sox are going to get 2 runs home to take the lead 5-4. On a single by Navarro, and he's driven in 4 in this game, giving him 20 runs batted in for the season.
Looked like the curveball from Doug. Maybe not a bad one, but White Sox have had a lot of opportunities. And not a good one. Stayed up a little bit more than Doug wanted.
Michael Phillies is coming in. 5-4 White Sox. Back in a moment.
On over 400 supported devices with MLB.TV Premium, which includes a free subscription to @Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for your details.
It's turned out to be a wild one here. It's 5-4 Chicago in the top of the 5th inning. Navarro at first. He has had a 4 RBI game. Laurie's at third with 2 outs. Garcia the batter. He's 0 for 1 with a walk, and Michael Phillies enters the game. .570 ERA, a whip below 1 for Michael with a 5-1 record. He has not pitched since June 25th at Kansas City when he got win number 5.
That's a tough role he's in, and you try to stay sharp as best as possible, but at the same time you can't blow it out in your pregame sessions because you never know what day is going to turn out to be like this.
Garcia looks at a strike. That evens the count at 1-1. Michael Phillies came in the 5th inning in that game last Saturday at Kansas City. Mike Fiers went 4 1/3. Michael getting the win as the Astros won at 13-5. Fouled away, and it's 1-2. So maybe it'll happen again for him. He's been in some good spots to get those 5 wins this season.
Right back up to 98 miles an hour. He's had times when he's been about as sharp as a guy can be.
Pitched a couple of scoreless Tuesday at the Angels. Pitched 2-2, so that was his most recent outing.
Evan Gattis might have been a little upset at himself right here. A little bit of movement in receiving this very well spotted slider. Callable.
And he gets a punch out to end the top of the 5th inning. The White Sox grab the lead with 2 runs on 4 hits. They leave 2. It's 5-4 Chicago.
Telecast is presented by authority of Houston Astros, LLC, and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Houston Astros, LLC.
It's 5-4. The White Sox about hit the Astros 9-4. They have the lead with Chris Sale on the mound facing Jake Marisnick in the bottom of the 5th. Jake fouls it. There's strike one. He bunted for a hit and came around to score a run in the 3rd when the Astros grabbed the lead with 3 runs. Sale now in front again with a shot at win number 14 of the year today. Gets a foul ball, 0-2, and he could conceivably be a 15-game winner by the All-Star break. That has not been done since David Wells in 2000. Pedro Martinez had 15 wins at the All-Star break in 1999. As far as American League pitchers are concerned anyway, so he has a chance to join select company in recent years. 1-2. And we had a question about his chances to win 30. Very, very difficult these days. He had 31 starts last year. And he's never had more than that in a season. This is his 17th start of this year. 2-2. Marisnick is a strikeout victim. That's number 4 for Sale. George Springer has struck out and fly to center in this game. Astros and White Sox made a trade. A few days ago, the Astros designated Double-A catcher Alfredo Gonzalez for assignment. He was traded to the White Sox today for cash considerations, and they're sending him to Double-A Birmingham.
As good of a throwing arm as you'll find on a catcher, and I wondered if they might take a shot at turning him into a pitcher.
Ball 1 to Springer. And there are international signings today. Today's the first day that those can be announced. The Astros have been involved very heavily in that market from what we're hearing. We may get a release on that later in the day. 2 balls, no strikes. It's been reported that the number 8 international prospect, a shortstop from the Dominican Republic, Frutis Nova, has been signed by the Astros for $1.2 million. Springer down on a right knee, fouls it back, and it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Sale has thrown strike 1 to 14 of 19 hitters in this game. In for strike 2. Cardinals lead the Brewers 3-0, top of the 7th in St. Louis. Adam Wainwright on the mound. Springer strikes out. That's number 5 for Sale.
On Friday, July 8th, Sport Clips will be giving away 10,000 free haircut coupons as the Astros take on the A's. Make sure to get to Minute Maid Park early to get your free Sports Clip haircut. I don't think those guys took advantage last time out.
No, they might make a next trip around. They're kind of in the Christmas spirit right now, though.
Seems early to me.
July 2nd. Marwin Gonzalez has lined out and put down a sacrifice bunt, which got him an RBI, his 22nd of the year. They strike 1 to Marwin.
Santa's a smart guy. He does that Hawaii thing, right?
I think he does. Probably does Rio in the offseason. No balls, 2 strikes. A lot of people will be making that Rio trip soon for the Olympics.
Yeah, hopefully that all works out. Had some issues.
Hey, Simone Biles is going to visit us. I think it's tomorrow. Julia's going to get a chance to talk with her. Still no balls, 2 strikes. Very exciting time for those Olympic athletes getting set to make that big trip. And
compete for the medals. Sale has only thrown 67 pitches.
And it hasn't been a smooth, easy one for him. But he's one of those guys. Phrase of the decade has been pound the strike zone. He'll pound it.
He's won his last 4 starts. His pitch high for the season is 120. Line past the shortstop into left center field. Another hard hit ball by Marwin Gonzalez. A big turn at first. Garcia gets it back in. And Marwin had lined out his first time up, and that was a great swing.
Got that slider sweeping in from away and just stay down. Look at the head and right shoulder down on the baseball. Really can't do it better than that. Didn't pull off a bit. He just continues to be such a valuable player.
Jose Altuve has homered and driven in a run with a single. After going 0 for 4 last night, he has bounced back strong today. There's strike one. These two should be American League All-Star teammates. Altuve has been leading by a wide margin at second base in the American League. Fan voting has been concluded. And the rosters will be announced Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Time on the MLB Network. One and one.
Tim Timmons, the home plate umpire, has done a nice job not giving in to that pitch just off the edge.
One and two.
There's that wiffle ball sweeping slider. You talked about the size of the break. You can see that starts well off the outside edge and winds up inside.
It's a huge break. Lucas Harrell is back pitching for the Atlanta Braves against Miami and winning. Strike three call. That's number 6 for Chris Sale. No runs a hit and a man left after 5. 5-4 White Sox.
White Sox leading the Astros. Show your support this Tuesday for our Cy Young winner by joining us in Keuchel's Corner, presented by Houston Methodist. You get a ticket, beard, and a Keuchel's Corner t-shirt with the package. For more info, visit astros.com/Keuchel's Corner or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. I'm going to talk about the guy behind the dish, Evan Gattis, catching. Well, he started catching Doug Fister, now catching Michael Felice. But the catcher's getting a lot of praise from the pitching staff, both starters and bullpens here recently. And we know how well that all of those guys have done so far and what they've meant to the success that this team has had the last couple of months here. Everyone's feeling good on the mound, and a big part of that is what the guys are doing, like Evan Gattis and Jason Castro. So after each start, I'm going to tell you right now, Doug Fister will probably credit the game plan that him and Evan Gattis have put together. They're working extremely hard, and it's good to hear these guys give them the credit. They're usually the ones that don't get talked about too much, but they're sacrificing their at-bats sometimes just because of the conversations that they're having in between innings with the pitchers and the pitching coach, Brent Strom, guys.
Thanks, Julia. 1-1 count. J.B. Shuck, the batter. Michael Felice hits the strike zone with strike 2. Fister in 4 2/3 innings allowed 9 hits, 5 runs, walking 5, fanning 3. He threw 103 pitches, 61 for strikes. Felice came in with 2 men on, struck out Garcia. Now as he starts this 6th inning, the foul ball keeps the count at 1-2 for Michael Felice. Bud Norris in his first start as a Dodger last night won 5-0 over Colorado at Dodger Stadium. Quite a debut for the former Astros. 6 innings of 2 hits, shutout ball. And to continue on that theme, as Norris filled in for Clayton Kershaw, who's on the disabled list, Lucas Harrell, another former Astro, has given up 1 run in 6 innings today against Jose Fernandez and the Miami Marlins, with Atlanta backing him with run support to the tune of 9-1 Atlanta after 6. Chase Peterson hit his 3rd homer. Freddie Freeman also unloaded. That was number 14 for Freeman. Still 1-2 to Shuck. Astros bullpen checks in with a 3.13 ERA, 3rd lowest in the American League. And Felice has been a big part of that. So is Chris Davinsky, who finished last night's 5-0 win with 1 scoreless inning. Those 2 guys have eaten up multiple innings. Worth to his right. One out.
Now the Astros could certainly use at least a few good strong innings out of Michael Felice today. But now the assignment also back on the bats to make something of Chris Sale.
Tim Anderson's 0 for 3. There's strike 1. Tomorrow it's Jose Quintana and Colin McHugh with a 1:10 start on July 3rd. The Monday, July 4th game will be a 1:10 start as well. Seattle's here for that one. Lance McCullers returns to the rotation. He missed a start with a blister problem. Seattle has not announced its rotation for that series. King Felix is still on the disabled list, but probably not too far away from returning for the Mariners. So McHugh, with a 5-5 record, takes the ball tomorrow. Then McCullers Tuesday 1:10. Wednesday back to a 7:10 start for Dallas Keuchel. Julia mentioned that earlier. And Thursday at 7:10 it's Mike Fiers against the Mariners. Then Oakland comes in for 4 on this 10-game homestand. In for a strikeout looking. Number 2 for Felice.
2 or 3 of those sliders from Felice staying on his arm side, not working into the outside corner the way he intended, and yet finding the plate. Big strong fella, and he has ironed out the mechanics of that delivery.
Adam Eaton looks at strike 1. Yeah, that's a good point. First outing of the year at Yankee Stadium for him on that cold game. It was a really rough one for him. He gave up 6 runs in 4 1/3 innings. Then the Astros needed a fresh arm. They sent him down for 3 weeks to the minors, and he came back a much better pitcher. 0-2.
Sometimes it is helpful to get a young pitcher who's trying to find his way in the big leagues back to the minors, so that takes the pressure off him of trying to compete against the best in the world and allows him to work on those mechanics in the minor leagues.
I imagine different guys deal with that differently. You go to spring training, every hope in the world for that young player is to make the major league squad. If you don't make it, or you do make it and get sent down early, how much does that weight creep on your shoulders, and how does it impact? I'm sure different for different guys.
1-2. Eaton's been on base all 3 times today. White Sox have out-hit the Astros 9-5. Another good slider. Strikeout number 3 for Phillies. That keeps it close at 5-4 Sox in the 6th.
Astros trailing the White Sox 5-4. And we have a winner in our Chevy Stroh poll today. We asked you, with Chris Sale going today, which lefty is the best fantasy team bargain? And you said Clayton Kershaw. Talking about just left-handers. Bargain, though. Chris Sale finished second. He came back strong.
Well, we know it's not his best day today, Julia, but nonetheless, Sale is in a position to be a 14-game winner by the end of the day. The Astros would like to change that right here in the home 6th inning. He's up 5-4. Correa, Gomez, Gaddis 2 up in the home 6th. Correa has an RBI single in 2 trips. That's strike 1.
Julia, if you wanted some offensive numbers to go along with the pitching numbers, I think Madison Bumgarner's our guy.
That's true. Value has to go way up when he's hitting in the DH bar instead of the DH, right? When did that happen? A couple days ago?
Yeah, sure did.
Yeah, he can swing it.
0-2. In fact, in some of the stories written about that, Julia, Bumgarner, we mentioned, was the first pitcher to hit in a game with his manager choosing not to use the DH since 1976. That's been a while. And Ken Brett did that for the White Sox back in those days. But 1976 was the first year the DH was used in the World Series, even though the DH came into play in '73, I believe, in the American League, but not in the World Series until '76. Sparky Anderson managed the world champion Cincinnati Reds that year. He was actually toying with the idea of not using the DH in the World Series, but he did not do it. He used it. Struck him out.
Sparky wouldn't want to take unfair advantage, would he?
Well, he kind of wanted to make a statement against it, but he wasn't afraid. He wasn't willing to sacrifice the series to make a statement. It's quite a pitch by Sale.
Backdoors that sweeping slider and spots it well.
Dan Dreesen, by the way, was the first World Series DH for a National League club. Carlos Gomez 0 for 2. Strikeout and a ground out. That's ball one. Frazier's even with the bag. In fact, a little bit in front of it at third. Gomez has been known to bunt. He's a .291 career hitter against the Sox. It's 1-1. He does bunt, but it goes foul. 1-2.
Yeah, we've seen more of that small ball style of play from the Astros today in a predictable game against Chris Sale.
Well, they dropped down 2 bunts in the third inning when they scored 3. One of those a bunt hit by Marisnik, the other a safety squeeze bunt by Gonzalez that advanced 2 runners on the play. Strikeout number 8 for Sale.
Academy Sports and Outdoors and the Houston Astros are hitting home runs for Houston. At bat to home run leaders this year, Evan Gattis. Look at that.
Nice ratio.
That's, of course, on the Astros, and he's done a nice job since coming back. George Springer leads the club in home runs. Altuve on the move at all times. I guess that's the predictable cast of characters. Nice job by Evan.
Strike one for Sale. Gattis 0 for 2 in this game. Fly ball to left, line drive to second. Tigers lead Tampa Bay 3-1 Detroit in the top of the 6th inning. Justin Verlander's pitching for the Tigers. Ian Kinsler hit his 15th homer. It's 1-1. Detroit right in the mix for a wild card spot as of now. Bouncer to Anderson. Throws low, but Abreu digs it out for a 1-2-3 6th for Sale and a 5-4 lead for the White Sox through 6.
White Sox, top of the 7th here at Minute Maid Park. Make memories at an Astros game every Sunday with the family-friendly activities presented by Kroger. The next Sunday home game is tomorrow's Astros-White Sox game. For more info, visit astros.com/Sundays or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Brian?
Thanks, Julia. We're resetting the matchup for the upcoming games. That's McHugh and Quintana tomorrow. And the Seattle series is Monday through Wednesday. I may have said Tuesday through Thursday, just looking at some notes here that weren't correct. But
Monday at 1:10. It's McCullers, and now we found out lefty Wade Miley will be starting for Seattle. Tuesday at 7:10, it's going to be Dallas Keuchel and Taijuan Walker. And Wednesday at 7:10, Mike Fiers and Wade LeBlanc. Then Oakland comes in Thursday through Sunday. That is the 4-game series. To clear that up, Jose Abreu leads it off in the 7th. In the dirt, ball 1. Abreu has a single in 3 trips. Phillies has retired 4 in a row since he came in relief of Doug Fister. $35,116 the paid attendance. 2-0 to Abreu. Good reason to come inside on him and keep him honest because he hits the outside pitch a ton. Out to left center field. Marisnick flying for it, diving, and Jake Marisnick laid out for a tremendous catch.
You're looking at one of the game's elite center fielders laying out in left field. Jose Altuve apparently digs himself some D. This ball, about 2/3 of the way out there, looked like there was no chance Jake was going to get to it, but that's what he does. See how he gets the eyes, the head set low, and just doesn't have to make a huge adjustment in the end. Long strides.
That's an athlete. Todd Frazier has been on twice with a single and a walk. Those long strides. Boy, he is so athletic.
You good with calling him one of the game's elite center fielders?
Oh, yeah. No problem with that. Even though he's playing left, he is one of the game's elite center fielders. Playing left. 1-1.
Yeah, he's a direct route runner, isn't he?
Oh. He took a perfect path to that ball, and then, of course, not an ordinary catch to lay out like that.
We didn't have to keep that word away from the Texans.
2 balls and a strike. What a fabulous play. Two balls, 2 strikes. That's another part of this team that really should not be understated because it is primarily a pitched contact team, even though the Astros are 6th in the league in strikeouts, but they have made so many phenomenal plays this year. He hooked it foul. We have to have another look at this.
Why not? And the ball was not scorched, but it was just perfectly slotted. And Jake was coming right at that landing spot.
And then George Springer, of course, makes a lot of diving catches in right field. It's a highlight reel outfield. 3 balls, 2 strikes. That backhanded diving catch he made a few days ago was absolutely terrific. Gomez covers the ground in center. And that guy's made a lot of plays and thrown a lot of people out.
Yeah,
Colby.
he's come up with some big outs with his arm, hasn't he?
Struck him out. Number 4 for Phillies.
And again, that slider that kind of gets away produces the strikeout.
Phillies really providing some nice relief here in a 1-run game. Now faces Avila. Avila's walked twice and struck out.
I guess ultimately the big question with Michael Phillies in the long run is he one of your starters? Is he a closer setup guy? Because he could be great in either case, you would think, or any of the 3 as we put it.
Right. There's ball 1. He loves starting, but he understands his role on this club is not to start.
I think his stuff says front of the line starter.
It's hard to prove otherwise, isn't it?
We haven't seen it.
1 ball, 1 strike. The Astros really have depth. You know, when this club went to spring training, it looked like 6 starters for 5 spots. Then Lance McCullers had the sore shoulder, so that narrowed it to 5 and 5 spots. But now looking at the landscape in the minor leagues. There are some people ready to go if needed, like Brady Rogers at AAA Fresno, Joe Musgrove.
Power arms are hard to find generally, and Phillies is that power arm. Power arms that can compete in this kind of a setting, going out there and give you that good outing every time.
Fans are into it for Michael Phillies. And they get a strikeout. That's number 5 for him. He has retired 7 in a row to keep it close. 5-4 Chicago in the 7th.
White Sox leading the Astros. Astros hoping to come from behind. We saw them do that a few times here on the last homestand. They'll have to do it against Chris Sale, who is still on the mound for the White Sox. But some late inning magic for this Astros team here lately. The last 4 games, they're 4-0 in those games. They have been really productive late in the game. 7th inning or later. Some numbers that are pretty incredible. The Astros have scored 14 runs, 7 through 9, and then hitting 400, the OBP 475. Extra base hits, they've had 6 with a couple of home runs, but getting on base and manufacturing runs in different ways. It isn't all about the home run with this team lately, but the way that they've been scoring late in games has given them confidence going into the next day. They're not just winning, they're winning big in some of these, and they're hoping to come from behind here today, guys.
And trying to get that karma going now, but they're facing Chris Sale, who has a 5-4 lead. He has struck out 8 through 6 innings. Luis Valbuena is 0 for 2. And a big objective now is to get Sale out of this game.
And you mentioned it earlier, that's just the 85th pitch now for Chris Sale, so he's been efficient in that regard.
In for strike 2. Now, since giving up 3 in the 3rd, he's given up 1 hit in the last 3 innings. 1-2. If the Astros can turn this into a battle of the bullpens, they're in good shape. Worth is on deck. Foul ball. Phillies lead the Royals 1-0 after 1 in Philadelphia. Aaron Nola is on the mound for the Phillies against Danny Duffy. Struck him out, number 9.
Effective sliders to start that at bat, and then one to polish at the end. Look at that grouping of pitches on Luis Valbuena, down and away.
Chris Sale in 48 innings against the Astros has struck out 65. Danny Worth has walked and scored, and he's bounced out. Ball 1 to him.
It hasn't been that big mid-90s plus kind of heater today, but really more about being efficient, being in the strike zone, and getting some outs as quickly as possible, and yet 9 strikeouts.
1-1. The Astros see another lefty tomorrow in Jose Quintana. He's a tough luck 5-8 because his ERA is 3.18. They'll face 2 lefties in the Seattle series, Wade Miley and Wade LeBlanc. They don't hit lefties as well.
Not sure why that is, too, because if you look at this lineup, it should be built for left-hand pitching.
Yeah. Their batting average is only .231 against lefty pitching this year, and they have a losing record, 9-13. Frazier takes care of out number 2. Jake Marisnick is 1 for 2, a bunt single and a run scored in the 3rd.
Really liked what I saw from Todd Frazier right there, taking the extra steps there to get his feet in position to make an accurate throw, as opposed to a lot of third basemen coming toward the bag and throwing on the run. It's kind of become the in vogue thing to do in recent decades.
Yeah. Style points.
Yep.
Center fielder goes back for it, shock into right center to complete the 7th inning, and that's 7 in a row set down by Sale. 5-4 White Sox after 7.
The White Sox lead over the Astros. Join the Astros at Minute Maid Park July 9th for their matchup with the A's. 10,000 fans will get a Jose Altuve replica Navy jersey that's presented by Exclusive Furniture. For more information, visit Astros.com or call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Oh, you've got to be wearing a number 27 after that day. Good looking jersey.
Should already be, Browning.
Yeah. Some of us are a little later than others. That's a good looking Altuve in the white.
Nice of you to look at me when you say that.
5-4. The White Sox lead it. They're batting in the 8th against Michael Phillies, with Brett Laurie taking ball 1. Laurie is 2 for 3. Lefty Tony Sipp is getting loose in the Houston bullpen. Phillies has retired 7 in a row since entering the game with 2 men on in the 5th. A heater at 96 takes care of strike 1 for him. And there's Tony Sipp. A couple of left-handed hitters could be coming up in this inning, depending on how it unfolds. Michael Phillies would like for it to unfold in a 1-2-3 fashion, getting Laurie, Navarro, and Garcia. The Astros have the top of the order due up in the bottom of the 8th. Chris Sale has thrown 94 pitches. We don't see anybody warming up for the White Sox. 1-2, and now it's a strikeout now to Laurie. That's number 6 already. Boy, powerful display from Phillies.
Yeah, this kind of stuff just it tells you the impact he has on a major league hitter.
As his career high.
Sliders have been picking him up right now. This one more effectively thrown than some that have kind of hung and frozen the hitters.
Navarro has had the big day for the White Sox, driving in 4. A 2-run triple in the second, a 2-run single in the 5th to give them the lead. He lets the fastball go, and it's ball 1. The Blue Jays ended the Indians' 14-game winning streak with a 9-6 victory in Toronto. Jason Grilli got that win in relief. Roberto Osuna save number 16. And for a strike. 1-1. Edwin Encarnacion hit his 22nd homer. Troy Tulowitzki his 13th. Josh Donaldson number 20. Blue Jays are now 5 games over 500. In for a strike. 1-2. The Astros are currently 6 games over 500.
How did the Blue Jays manage that Josh Donaldson deal? That one still puzzles me. Brett Laurie was one of the main guys that went the other way in that deal.
Yeah. Struck him out for number 7 for Phillies.
This time just slipping cheese right on by the mouse.
A new high for Michael Feliz, 7 strikeouts.
Watch how he just hands it to the catcher. Really pretty.
He's retired 9 in a row. Avi Garcia is 0 for 2 with a walk. He rips one foul for strike 1. You know, just looking at the races, there are not too many close ones here on July 2nd. Baltimore with a 4-game lead on Boston. Cleveland 7 ahead of Kansas City. Before today, this is Texas 8.5 ahead of Houston. Washington 6 ahead of New York. Chicago 10 ahead of St. Louis. San Francisco 6 ahead of Los Angeles.
For the moment, it appears to be about the wild card. Things can change.
They sure did last year in the AL West,
Isn't that the truth? And it was a reversal. But let's go ahead and see it happen with the Astros charging on the Rangers this year.
You know, the Astros, who have won 43 games and lost 37, have reached 43 wins at midseason, only 2 previous times at Minute Maid Park. This will be the halfway mark of the season after this game today.
Would not have guessed that.
Yeah.
With those big, I was going to say offensive clubs, but there was a lot of firepower on both ends for those clubs early in the 2000s.
Well, they've had 4 playoff teams here at Minute Maid Park. They moved in here in 2000 when it was Enron Field. And yet they've won 43 at midseason only twice. In tight, and Garcia takes, to the crowd's dismay, ball 3. Crowd really into it today.
I think again, on behalf of Tim Timmons, home plate umpire, he's been quality back there today.
Bouncer up the middle, and Danny Worth off balance throw, safe at first. Good effort by Worth. Garcia gets a hit.
Mentioned it earlier in the game. Garcia, big guy, but runs well. You're just not going to get him on this play. A heck of an effort.
AJ Hinch is coming out. Feliz has thrown 49 pitches. Lefty hitting Shuck coming up. And we'll be right back with a score 5-4 White Sox as Sip faces Shuck in a moment.
quite a day for Michael Phillies in relief. We promised earlier in the game, Miller time. It's brought to you by Miller Lite, and here is the story of these middle innings here and on into the late innings. Michael Phillies.
Dominant stuff, and he brings it generally every time he runs to the hill. Even when he didn't finish that slider, he had hitters just flailing at it. Fastball up to 98 miles an hour. Really nice to see him back on the bench. AJ Hinch went down, and you could tell it was not only just a congratulations, but great stuff, kind of a commentary, and big smile from Michael.
Career high in strikeouts with 7. He retired 9 in a row, then allowed the hit to Garcia. Now Tony Sipp, 1-2 with a 5.09 ERA, and to face the lefty hitting Shuck. Lefties are hitting .298 against him. .440 opponent batting average for the month of June. Last time out in Kansas City, he did not retire a batter, giving up 3 hits and 2 runs. That's a foul ball. Marisnick hustling over for it, but it's out of play.
Tony Sipp has put up some numbers the last 2 years with the Astros that are quite remarkable in some regards. A couple of years ago, just 5 hits per 9 innings allowed. Last year, under 7. This year, up to 11.3. So alarmingly up in terms of allowing the base hit.
Shuck ripped a homer in the 4th. He's 1 for 3.
And I would add, included in there, the home run ball against him.
0-2. Sometimes it's a good way for a relief pitcher to get some confidence back, come in and face just one batter. And build off that, but these White Sox do have left-handed hitters sprinkled throughout their lineup, depending on any given day what they do. Poked out to left center field. A long run here. Marisnick going straight back. That's in for extra bases. That's going to score Garcia. Here's the throw in toward Correa, who relays it on to third. Safe at third, and it's 6-4 White Sox. Garcia scores on a Shuck triple. He's had a homer and a triple.
You know, Valbuena believes he got an out down there at third. He wants AJ Hinch and company to check this one on the video, but big damage done. Shuck is a guy that just stays on the pitch. We've seen him kind of flail at some pitches away and yet get the barrel to it. But that defense set up the way it was. Marisnick was shallow toward the line and left. No chance at all to get to this ball. And I think the reaction from Shuck early on there would have said he didn't anticipate a 3-bagger.
Right. He wasn't really busting it out of the box. Looked like an out.
Yep, it does, doesn't it? That might get reversed. That's a costly run.
The run had scored before the tag at third, so that will hold up. Run number 6 has scored no matter whether the call is reversed or not.
Out in that real tough spot in left center field. Nice relay there by Carlos Correa to get that what should be an out. Not by any too much though.
Really close.
But that should come back from New York with the seal of out approval on it.
If Shuck is out, he's going to look back at the way he came out of this batter's box and think that that's why.
That is a fact. I'm not sure why this has taken that long.
Well, it was down to a few inches there on whether he had reached the base or not.
I'll completely agree. Close play, but even close plays with the caliber of slow motion replay in the game now have become fairly definitive at times.
Yeah, because I believe that they can actually stop that when the tag is made to determine whether the fingers have reached the base or not, Ash.
And even what we saw, for me, it was as close as it is or was. It was definitive. But you're right. J.B. Shuck didn't come out of the box like a guy who thought, hey, I've got 3 bags on this ball.
He hit that ball well, too. I can't understand why he wasn't busting it out of the home plate area.
Consternation in New York, apparently. Carlos Gomez had a tough time getting a corral on that ball in left center field.
Yes.
But an accurate throw to, oh boy. Ooh. Well, count me in disagreement. And AJ.
Okay. It was worth the challenge, though.
Watch this. Once Carlos does get a hold of it, it's Carlos Correa that alertly and accurately puts it in there. Get that tag down quickly. Yeah. Don't know what went wrong there.
2 minutes and 33 seconds for the review. Now it's Anderson batting. 6-4 White Sox. They've had 2 run-producing triples in this game. And it's strike 1 to Anderson. Adam Eaton on deck. And the tough thing here for Michael Feliz is he gets tagged with a run.
Yeah, that's a good point, and you hate to see that happen.
He gave up only an infield hit, retired 9 in a row. Line drive, and that'll make it 7-4 White Sox. Here's Anderson to second base. Safe there. RBI double for Anderson. His 6th run batted in. That's his 7th 2-base hit of the year. Both of these hits have come on 0-2 pitches.
Have the White Sox found themselves a young shortstop?
Good looking player. Now a 3-run lead. That's 12 hits for Chicago, 5 for Houston. And Eaton is the batter. He's been on 3 times with a walk and 2 singles. That's strike 1. The Astros have won 13 of their last 15 home games, 6 in a row. Gomez back into center field and there for the catch. 2 runners score on 3 hits with a man left. We go to the bottom of the 8th, 7-4 Chicago.
Welcome back. Astros trying to get something going here in the bottom of the 8th against Chris Sale. And Jose Altuve will be due up here in just a moment. We've heard about his award that he received earlier today before the game, AL Player of the Month, and talked about it with the media saying, 420, once I saw the number, I couldn't really believe it. I knew I felt good. I knew I was seeing the ball well, but when you see that number, it was pretty incredible what he had done, and he was pretty happy about what he had done, but he was really happy with the way the team had played, and he said that over and over. It was so big to be able to contribute into putting this team back where we want to be and moving forward to where we want to go towards the end of the season. And guys, AJ Hinch delivered the news to him earlier before the game, like I mentioned, and he said when Altuve was in his office, he went 0-4 last night, and so AJ said, I know your June was good, but you haven't done anything in July. What have you done here lately? And so Altuve said, I'll get a hit for you today, and sure enough, he did with that home run early in this one.
Thanks, Julia. 1-1 count on George Springer. He moves back from that one inside from Chris Sale. Springer's 0-for-3 in this game, has a 2-1 count. Sale closing in on 100 pitches. He now has a 3-run lead, shooting for his 14th win of the year. It's 2-2 to Springer. We have a question from Heath Turner. Has a ball boy ever been ejected from a game? I'm sure he has. Nate Jones is warming up for the White Sox. Umpires can eject fans. They have the power to do that. There's the right-hander Jones. Springer to left field on a line drive hit for George.
Well, we've mentioned in recent times that some of the home runs, a number of the home runs from George Springer have come on breaking balls. Watch him wait on this slider from Sale. Just stays back so well with his hands. Maybe a better breaking ball hitter than fastball hitter right now.
Hit number 6 for the Astros. Marwin Gonzalez has had good swings today. Line to third. He put down a safety squeeze bunt, and then he lined to left center for a single. Jose Altuve on deck. Oh, Marwin gets aboard. Perhaps Nate Jones is in this game. He looks at ball 1. Detroit's leading Tampa Bay 3-2 in the bottom of the 8th at St. Petersburg. 2-0. Almost hit in ball 3.
I bet that hurt for a moment for Marwin even without getting hit. Sometimes you anticipate that 94 just boring in.
That creates the late movement. Now there's time being called. Three and one.
Well, if you wanted to find a pitch to hit, that might have been it. Of course, on the 3-0 and you're down a few runs, there's no doubt you're taking. might be another take here.
Hot shot off the glove of Frazier. Into the left field corner. Springer's being stopped at third. Into second base. Marwin Gonzalez, who drilled that ball. And now Jose Altuve, representing the potential tying run, comes to the plate.
Hate to look back, but how big are those runs in the 8th inning by the White Sox, and then see this start to happen. But I guess all you can do is, so let's go ahead and make something big happen.
That's ruled an error on Frazier, his 6th of the year.
That's tough error.
It is.
Sharply hit ball in between hop. It's tough.
Robin Ventura is out to the mound to take the ball from Chris Sale, who could be a 14-game winner. Nate Jones will be headed in with a 7-4 White Sox lead. Back in a moment.
But the Astros threatening, a couple of runners second and third now as Nate Jones comes on for the White Sox, 5th year in the major leagues. He's a big guy. Let's see what he is. 6'5", 220 is what they have him listed at. 30 years of age. Picked up a couple of saves this year. The numbers are good. Only 24 hits allowed in 36 innings. Houston Methodist brings us our league leaders. Take a look at what historically some of the Astros have done through July 1st. Moises Alou, a 364 mark, the leader. Lance Berkman a couple of times. Jeff Bagwell. Jose Altuve this year 352, and now a very big at bat on July 2nd.
For Jose Altuve, a 2-for-3 day, a homer, an RBI single, runners at second and third, nobody out. Nate Jones, a hard thrower. His fastball is around 96. Fly ball to right. Eaton with the catch, and here's the tag by Springer, and the throw to the plate, and Springer is in with a run. Sacrifice fly for Altuve, 7-5 game. Gonzalez stayed at second.
Oh, that could be a costly 90 feet. Not picked up. Not a deep fly ball, and a very good thrower in right field in Adam Eaton. But you got George Springer carrying the mail.
That's his 58th run scored, and he really slithers along the ground very quickly.
Sure love to have gotten Marwin to third base on that fly ball.
Carlos Correa will try to knock him home. Correa's 1-for-3, an RBI single in the third. Jones has been very tough to hit. There's ball one. Especially first batters in the game. He has dominated. First batter faced 3-for-35 against Nate Jones. He has 16 holds, 4th in the league. Correa chased it. 1-1 with Gonzalez at second.
You mentioned the stuff good from Nate Jones. It's a different look too, and I think when you're facing a guy like this, that one at bat, it can take you a little while to figure out where he's coming from.
Well, he's originally coming from Covington, Kentucky. That's where he was born, but that's not what you're referring to.
It might have been.
Marwin Gonzalez at second after what was ruled a 2-base error on Frazier. Jones went to Northern Kentucky University, 5th-round pick in '07 by the Sox. In for a strike, and it's 1-2 to Correa.
I'm not convinced Carlos is fully picking this up here. See those locations, just making it tough.
Against this sturdy right-hander, the opponent's batting average is 188 since last year. Way outside. Obila slides out to stop it. It's 2-2.
Start seeing sliders at 90 miles an hour, and you know the guy has a really good arm.
Yeah. They had a good outing against the Astros in Chicago, May 17th, 2/3 of an inning. No hits, no runs. Correa hit a ground ball off his foot, and that led to an out. Now 3-2. Jones had Tommy John surgery in 2014. He pitched 19 times last year for the White Sox. Really has returned to very good form this season. Carlos Gomez is on deck. Paid attendance today, 35,116 on Correa bobblehead day. Rookie of the Year bobblehead day.
Some rally caps out.
And now they're hoping for a sophomore of the year big hit. High, and it's a strikeout. Couldn't hold the bat, and it's out number 2.
That AB never looked comfortable.
No.
I wonder what the approach might have gone like, any different at all, had Marwin been able to get to third base on that fly ball.
Gomez is 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts today. Jones has averaged better than a strikeout per inning for his career. Foul back, strike 1. Evan Gattis is on deck. Jones got a blown save on Thursday against the Twins. One and one. But generally this combination of Jones in the 8th and David Robertson in the 9th has been outstanding for the White Sox. Even though he got a blown save, he also got a win on Thursday. Fouled away. 1-2. Closer Robertson and lefty Zach Duke are loose in the bullpen. Altuve's driven in 3 today. He has 49 runs batted in. Gomez grounds one. Here's Anderson to his right, and he throws him out. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error, and 1 left. We move to the 9th inning. White Sox lead it 7-5. come from behind after the Astros came from behind earlier to grab a 4-2 lead. Bobby Bonilla had a lengthy major league career and an even lengthier contract. He will collect $1.19 million from the Mets every July 1st through 2035 on that Mets contract. 8% annual interest rate to a $5.9 million contract in 2000.
Is he still having good years?
Yeah,
I wasn't even aware.
He's having great years. He gets $1.1 million every July 1st.
I see your line of thinking. Okay.
We go to the ninth inning. Pat Neshek is in the game. 7-5 lead for the White Sox. Here's Abreu. He is 1 for 4. Taking strike one. Tony Sipp in 1/3 of an inning allowed 2 hits, 1 run with no walks, no strikeouts. In the Astros ninth, Gaddis, Valbuena, and Worth are scheduled to bat. One and one to count.
Bobby Bo was just taking care of the golden years, wasn't he?
He was. Gomez back into right center field, runs hard for this one. Extra bases for Abreu. He's in with a leadoff double. His 18th 2-base hit of the year. Todd Frazier's been on twice with a single and a walk, and he has scored twice.
You know, that double right there by the right-handed bat really crossed up those overall numbers on Pat Neshek. 119 by the righties.
Avila's on deck. Oh, that delivery, he can make things difficult on a right-handed hitter. Ball one. That is hit number 13 for the White Sox today. Abreu has a couple. Deoner Navarro's driven in 4 runs in for a strike, 1 and 2. J.B. Shuck has a triple and a homer. Everybody in the White Sox lineup has reached base. The swing there makes it 1 and 2. And all but one player is in the hit column. That's Avila, but he's been on twice on walks. Poke foul by Frazier. He stays alive at 1 and 2. Tampa Bay's batting in the bottom of the ninth, trailing Detroit 3-2. Foul ball keeps it at 1 and 2 for Frazier. Foul ball. Marwin Gonzalez hustling over by the Astros dugout, and it's back behind. Still a 1 and 2 count. We had a question on Twitter. What's the deal with 100 pitches? Seems like complete games in the past would have exceeded 100 pitches. Sure. And I think the reason that 100 pitch mark is such a standard in Major League Baseball is the injury factor. A lot of studies have been done on injuries to pitchers, indicating that past the 100 pitch mark, the incidence of injuries spikes much, much higher.
Fuels debate, though.
Yeah, it sure does, because it's not the same for everybody.
If you look at what's happened since the 100 pitch roughly kind of limitation has been placed, I would say without any real study that certainly the numbers of Tommy John surgeries that have been necessary have not gone down.
No,
have they?
No, not at all. They've gone way up.
So you look back to the old 4-man rotations. I don't know, was it healthier? I don't see how you could justify that, but here's the deal, that when I played, a lot of guys, most guys played winter ball. The guys that did play winter ball, the guys from the Dominican and from Puerto Rico and Venezuela, tended to be the least impacted with negative arm issues kind of situations. So yeah, do you keep your arm going or do you rest it? Big question.
Have you read that book, The Arm?
I have not. I've heard you talk about it on multiple occasions.
It really advocates rest for pitchers.
And again, if you took what I just was talking about guys pitching winter ball all year long and never having a sore arm, do the stats there, I guess, the numbers on the guys back up what they're saying?
Well, yeah, that was a different time. You're right. When you caught and guys were pitching 250, 270 innings, maybe even 300 innings.
Here's the deal. It always seemed toughest on the guys that pitched their season and then went home and rested and had to restart the arm again, as opposed to the guys who threw all year long.
Full count to Frazier now.
Been quite an at-bat by Frazier. Can you call that one? Based on that box, you can.
You could call it. It's callable. And foul back. Lengthy at bat for Frazier here. Abreu with the double, and the White Sox have really done some things offensively in this game with their 13 hits. Fly ball, and Gomez is out into shallow right center field for the catch. 1 out. Steve Sparks has a birthday today. Happy birthday, Sparky. Sean Casey, Bret Hart. Don't know Roy Bittan. Who's he? Larry David. Who's Pietro Attabone? 1667. How about this for Sparky?
That's his baseball card one year. How about that?
Nice. Orbit got him earlier today.
He has never learned to fend that stuff off.
No, he welcomes it.
I want you to know I was instrumental in getting Orbit in there with Steve.
Alex Avila takes strike one. He's 0 for 2 with 2 walks. I think the culprit was Ed Farmer.
Well, Ed came to me, and then I became the chain of command.
Okay.
So
you were the guy who actually got it done.
Well, I was first in line to the guy that got it done. So
you and Orbit have been such good friends for a long time.
Yeah, we hang.
Really kind of thought Julia might get involved in something like that, but not the case today. One and one. Abreu had the leadoff double. Frazier hit a shallow fly ball. Avila falls behind 1-2 in the count.
And by the way, to one of the fans writing in that fall ball with young kids maybe tough on their arms, got to let them rest when they're young. Talking about professional players
right
here, and I won't make any contentions at all. I don't know the stuff. I just know guys that I was around and the impact that different styles had on their arms.
Well, I know that book, The Arm, had a lot of information from some of the surgeons who performed Tommy John surgeries. They seem to be speaking with one voice about young pitchers needing rest. It's 2-2. You know, it's crushing for those surgeons to have to perform so many Tommy John operations on 14-year-old kids. Three and two.
This has been a battle this ninth inning.
Really has. 23 pitches so far for Neshek. Brett Lawrie staying loose there. Foul tip, and Gaddis held on for out number 2.
Really?
Hey, we got a modern photo of you, Ash.
Wow. They didn't actually pull that off a hieroglyphics wall or anything like that.
No, but we've had a lot of history about you today in catcher's gear.
It's been phenomenal, too. And where those people get all that accurate data, I have no idea. But nice going, folks. And
well, they get some help.
I like that color cartoonist era that photo came from.
To Brett Lawrie. Lawrie 2 for 4. Actually, you didn't play that long ago.
Which way do you mean that?
People are suggesting that you were active in what, the 1890s or something. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Yeah, based on some of the artifacts I saw, it was well before that era.
People do have fun with those Twitter photos. It's been an entertaining day on that.
Apparently, Roy Britton, who you asked about, is Bruce Springsteen's piano player.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Nice. Neshek trying to close the door on the Sox here in the 9th. Fly ball. Gomez in center. No runs, a hit, a man left. We go to the bottom of the 9th, 7-5 White Sox. Houston Astros baseball on Root Sports is presented by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by Toyota. Let's go places. Bottom of the ninth inning at Minute Maid Park finds the White Sox leading the Astros 7-5. They've out-hit Houston 13-6. Chris Sale is in line for win number 14. Nate Jones retired 3 in a row, one via strikeout in the 8th inning. Now David Robertson comes in, shooting for his 22nd save of the year with very good numbers, including the last 11 saves have been converted in a row by Robertson.
Learned a lot of his trade around Mariano Rivera with the Yankees. Has that kind of cut fastball that he utilizes, fairly similar. And the left-hand hitters have had a tough time against him.
Evan Gattis leads it off for Houston. He's 0 for 3. Luis Valbuena is on deck. Danny Worth is due up third in the inning. There are 3 left-handed pinch hitters available for A.J. Hinch. That goes foul for strike 1.
And quickly.
David Robertson's 31 years old. You mentioned his time with the Yankees. They drafted him in 06 in the 17th round. Gattis trying to get something started against Robertson, who had 34 saves last year in 41 opportunities. The breaking pitch comes in for a strike. It's 0-2. Rally time. It's 1-2. Robertson coming up under that tutelage you talked about of Mariano Rivera. Joined the Yankees in 08. And he was a setup man for Rivera. Had 34 holds in 2011 and then 30 and 33 the next 2 years. And became closer in 2014 with 39 saves that season. Gattis started, but he checked his swing.
You can see almost everything from Robertson will be breaking that way. That kind of more on top like a slider, but previous pitch a little bit closer to the cutter that Mariano threw.
He got the save Thursday at Minnesota with a scoreless inning, striking out 3 in that frame. Out to right center field. Shuck is over there. 1 out. And Valbuena will be next. He's 0 for 3. A.J. Reed comes out to the on-deck circle. Colby Rasmus is 0 for 14 against Robertson. So Reed is in line to pinch hit for Worth. David Robertson's the only pitcher in Major League history to average 10 strikeouts per 9 innings in each of his first 7 seasons. That's consistency. There's strike 1. Boy, he has really nailed those first men faced. They have hit 168 against him. 0-2.
Well, that'll encourage managers to get you in the ballgame, won't it? Late in a game you're ideally leading.
Yeah, and he's converted 21 of 23 save situations this year. Fouled away by Valbuena. White Sox trying to win game 2 of this series, create the deciding game tomorrow. It's a 1-10 start for Jose Quintana and Colin McHugh. So the Astros facing lefty starters 2 days in a row in this series, and 2 more in a 3-game span when Seattle comes in starting Monday at 1:10. Valbuena puts it in the air. Here's the second baseman Laurie giving way to Eaton in right. 2 down.
A.J. Reed is a pinch hitter for Danny Worth. He was 0 for 2 with a walk. Reed got his first major league hit in last night's game, and it came in the 5th inning in his second time up. He had started his major league career 0 for 16, and he later walked in the game. 1 for 17 with the Astros after 11 homers, 36 runs batted in for AAA Fresno this season. He led the minor leagues last year in homers and runs batted in. Reed takes a look at ball 1.
That pitch pretty clearly showed that little flat cutting action.
Reed was born in Terre Haute, Indiana, went to the University of Kentucky, second round pick of the Astros in 2014. Out to center field, a long run for Schuck. He's on the warning track. He's at the bullpen wall, and there is his first major league homer for A.J. Reed.
Maybe that opens the floodgates. Just been looking for a pressure situation, that's all. Gets a fastball that's fairly straight. Even out there on the outside corner, able to turn it around. Big, strong fella.
He has not been seeing too many fastballs.
He's got a diet that has been heavy in changeups.
7-6 ball game. Now Colby Rasmus pinch hits for Jake Marisnick, and the crowd is buzzing after the Reed pinch hit homer. Ball 1. Rasmus, a .253 hitter, 0 for 14 in his career against Robertson. Colby has 10 homers, 40 runs batted in. He's 0 for 3 pinch hitting. The pinch homer was the second by an Astro this season. Carlos Correa hit the first. One and one. What a moment for A.J. Reed.
Yeah, things have to feel a little bit better personally right now.
George Springer's on deck. In for a strike, 1-2. Rasmus had a good month of June with a .313 batting average. Colby last night was 1 for 4. He drove in an 8th inning run in the 5-0 win. Crowd is chanting Colby. Robertson gets a strikeout to end it, and the White Sox take this one 7-6. Chris Sale goes to 14-2. Robertson picks up save number 22. Doug Fister, the loser, is now 8-5. The White Sox come back to win it with Schuck hitting a homer and a triple, and the big day from Deoner Navarro, who drives in 4. In 3 hours and 19 minutes, the final is the White Sox 7, the Astros 6.